The news was just announced that WNBA TV ratings are down more than 50% since Caitlin Clark's injury, and it was also reported that the Indiana Fever television viewership is also down over 53%. Now, I know a lot of us were expecting some sort of dip since Caitlin Clark has been out with injury, but I don't think all of us were expecting the entire viewership of the entire WNBA.
Alright, let's be real. The WNBA just got hit with a brutal reality check. It's like trying to stream your favorite show with no internet. Impossible. Because without Caitlin Clark, this league feels empty. The postseason numbers are collapsing faster than your phone charge when you forget your charger. And now, the league's in panic mode, scrambling for answers. Where did the fans go? Did they disappear overnight or just flip the channel to pickleball highlights instead? Honestly, this playoff meltdown is juicier than any reality show drama you've ever watched. So buckle up.
Is there any chance that the WNBA, that Kathy Engelbert saw some of the ratings that I'm about to show you now and said, hey, Indiana Fever, can you do us a favor? Can you do us a solid? Can you just tease a Caitlin Clark return, kind of boost these up a little bit? Can you just dangle a Caitlin Clark return in front of the fans' faces, try to boost these ratings up a little bit? There was one matchup that this league can consistently rely on to produce massive viewership.
This was supposed to be the moment, the year the WNBA finally broke through, stepped into the spotlight, and proved it belonged on the same stage as the big leagues. But instead, it looks like the whole plan blew up in their face. Picture them tripping straight into a giant tub of nacho cheese and then trying to play it off like, don't worry, it's actually part of the master plan. Please, nobody's buying that.
A shocker. Imagine my surprise. Just imagine my surprise when Uncle Casey found out that the WNBA is struggling to maintain their ratings without Caitlin Clark. To make matters worse, and this is something I have definitely noticed in the last 3 or 4 weeks, especially since the All-Star game, the WNBA seems to be struggling to maintain interest.
Let's be real for a moment. This WNBA season has been both incredible to watch and painfully disappointing, because every time you tuned in, it felt like the commissioner treated player safety as more of a suggestion than an actual rule. The injury list kept piling up, and the foul calls, half of them looked like they came from refs squinting through cracked glasses. If you wanted entertainment, chances are you bailed out faster than you could even say Caitlin Clark. And speaking of Clark, defenders turned her into a crash test dummy, hacking away at her until her ankles practically belonged to the public. Honestly, she logged more minutes recovering on the sideline than she did running the floor.
Caitlin Clark, the operative word that comes to my mind is gratitude. There's an incredible level of gratitude that should be accorded to this young lady with what she did for the sport.
How was the attendance for Team USA in the Olympics? What would it have been like if Caitlin Clark was playing on that team? Remember the first game? Look at this right here. National broadcast viewership. What are we talking about here? 1,000, what is that? 1.219? Is that the number? And the game afterwards got 485,000. So the Fever and their game against the Minnesota Lynx was 1.219 million.
You know things are going off the rails when the most exciting storyline of the season isn't the games. It's fans wondering if the league will completely collapse before the playoffs even wrap up. At this point, it's hanging together with nothing more than a flimsy strip of duct tape labeled, "Please don't look too closely." But here's the kicker, everyone already has.
NBA's black superstars should thank their lucky stars. For the record ratings, Caitlin Clark is detonating, even if new fans are mostly white fans. It doesn't matter what color eyeballs are. But the other day, I must admit, it hit me like Katie Bell Henderson telling me that's enough. I told myself it's not racist for me to lie.
And while we're on the subject of disasters, let's talk about the officiating this year. Honestly, it's like they recruited refs straight out of a mall food court during lunch hour. One's still wiping ketchup off their shirt while calling a technical, and another looks like they accidentally signed up to ref a roller derby. Consistency? Forget it. It's about as reliable as a Magic 8 ball. One night, an obvious foul gets completely ignored, and the very next game, someone sneezes too loudly and suddenly they're tossed out. If these refs had a stat line, it would be nothing but turnovers and blown calls from start to finish.
WNBA has a problem, and that problem is Caitlin Clark not playing in WNBA games. Now, what all does this affect? The ratings are plummeting. Guys, there's ratings for a couple of these games that are...
Next up, injuries. Honestly, this WNBA season has felt less like basketball and more like a surgeon's holiday wish list. Take Caitlin Clark, for example. She spent more time on the sidelines recovering than actually hitting the court, mostly because defenders treat her like she owes them cash. Every drive to the basket looks like a new episode of How Hard Can We Take Clark Down before the ref notices. And believe me, they're giving it everything they've got, but it's not just Clark. This injury train has taken down stars across the league. Then there's Angel Reese, who just bailed on the WNBA midseason. In almost any other sport, that would be a scandal. Here, it's a damning reflection on the league itself. Honestly, who would stick around when the commissioner can't manage the league? The refs seem to be auditioning for a circus, and players are dropping left and right like flies on a summer afternoon. Reese probably figured she's better off racking up followers online than risking another brutal hit in what's supposed to be a professional game.
Not a trend that the WNBA is excited about. That's a trend that Kathy Engelbert would say, hey, Fever, hey, Lynn Dunn, hey, Kelly, hey, Amber, can you guys start dangling that Caitlin Clark return like you used to do? You know, before Caitlin Clark gave a statement and you guys were hands off.
Here's the real kicker. None of this exists in a vacuum. For years, the WNBA has been pleading for attention, desperate to prove it's more than just a passing trend. Yet somehow the league keeps sabotaging itself. Take the commissioner, for instance. Player safety seems optional, and enforcing the rules feels like a chore too extreme to bother with. Remember those days before Caitlin Clark got injured? Fans tuned in excitedly. ESPN finally acted like they cared. SportsCenter actually showed highlights, and even Twitter pretended to understand what a pick and roll was. But the second she went down, ratings crashed faster than Angel Reese's commitment to finishing the season. Suddenly, it became painfully obvious. The WNBA's entire marketing plan revolved around one player, and their officiating strategy was basically letting her get hammered on the court. Some diehard fans might shrug and say injuries happen, fouls are part of the game. It's just a rough patch. But this isn't luck, it's leadership failing spectacularly. The commissioner has been lounging like a substitute teacher who's completely lost the class, ignoring the problems while doubling down on negligence. Stars quitting mid-season, games unwatchable because of sloppy officiating, and the result? Fans didn't stick around, not even close.
Indiana, against the Chicago Sky, right after that game, they opened an investigation once again into the fans, where they found nothing, but the damage had already been done at that point. If some of these things happen just one time here and there, or there's one certain media personality who's just always saying these kind of things, then whatever. I feel like fans as a whole can be like, okay, whatever, this person is just a hater. But this is something that has happened over and over and over again, and over time it starts chipping away at how much you're going to actually care and want to support an organization if they continue to do.
The few players who've managed to stay healthy are forced into games that feel more like professional wrestling or rugby than actual basketball. Half the time, it's impossible to tell if you're watching a WNBA playoff matchup or WWE SummerSlam. You're just waiting for someone to swing a steel chair. Meanwhile, the commissioner is out there giving interviews, cheerfully rambling about the league's expansion and momentum. Sure, and I grow taller every time I put on heels. Calling this season's progress growth is like calling a house fire a new lighting design. Completely absurd. But here's the kicker. Despite the chaos, these phenomenal athletes are still giving everything they've got. They don't deserve refs who run games like a toddler's birthday party. They don't deserve leadership that treats their health as an afterthought, and they certainly don't deserve a league that only shows up for them when it's convenient. Now, the season is dragging to a miserable finish, ratings tanked, injuries everywhere, and fans genuinely questioning if the WNBA can survive another year like this. So congratulations, WNBA. If this was supposed to be your season of growth, it's certainly grown into a disaster of monumental proportions.
Caitlin Clark thing, man, I mean, it's embarrassing. It is embarrassing what you guys have done. And then people are catching on to your tactics. You got the people on Twitter catching on to your tactics. Like, look at this right here. Look at this right here. It said ESPN didn't want to show the ratings were down from WNBA All-Star Game because...
Okay, let's get real about the Caitlin Clark situation, because honestly, it's downright embarrassing. What's happening is shameful, and fans are finally seeing the cracks in the WNBA's so-called strategy. Twitter is blowing up with criticism, and there are whispers that ESPN even tried to downplay the All-Star Game's low ratings that tanked precisely because Clark wasn't on the court. Maybe next year the commissioner will start taking player safety seriously. Maybe the refs will actually learn what a foul is, and maybe, just maybe, athletes like Caitlin Clark won't be forced toward early retirement in the middle of a single season. But until that day comes, the WNBA is in serious trouble. Here's the blunt truth: the fans care, but the leadership clearly doesn't. The league expected ticket sales to explode this year, with stadiums packed like lines outside an iPhone launch. Instead, the reality is eerily silent arenas, empty seats echoing louder than any referee's whistle. Popcorn sellers are practically screaming into the void, begging someone, anyone, to buy a hot dog. Most games look like the clearance section of a bankrupt department store. The league keeps claiming it's growing the fan base, while in reality, fans are just adding shows to their Netflix queue instead of watching basketball. Without Clark drawing crowds and drama, ticket sales collapse faster than a Jenga tower in an earthquake. And the league's attempts to spin this? Pure comedy. Their social media acts like nothing has changed, posting as if every night is thrilling WNBA action. Meanwhile, fans are in the comments asking, "Excitement? Which game are you even talking about?" Memes of tumbleweeds rolling through empty arenas are now standard replies. Then there's the commissioner, whose performance pretending everything is fine deserves an Oscar. She appears on TV claiming the league is at its strongest point ever. That's like the Titanic captain boasting about how lovely the ship looks underwater, technically still floating, but in all the wrong ways. She's perfected denial, like a magician distracting you with card tricks while the theater burns around you. And when criticism comes, demanding accountability for injuries, awful officiating, and blatant disregard for player safety, she either stays silent or parrots some pre-written statement about reviewing protocols, as if proper medical care or competent refereeing is suddenly rocket science. Here's the thing: a league lives and dies by its stars. No stars, ratings plummet, ticket sales tank. It's business 101. The NFL understands this. Quarterbacks are treated like fragile works of art. Breathe too hard on Patrick Mahomes, and refs throw flags faster than you can blink. But in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark gets slammed into the scorer's table, and the refs shrug it off. Fans notice, fans are furious, and it's no wonder viewership is bleeding.